Well, tonight we're going to take a look at the VR80 made at for Rock Island Armory, and this has really turned out to be quite the shotgun. It's my son-in-law's shotgun. He asked me to do some work on it for him, so I want to make sure that the gun is very reliable, but I want to make sure that it's also comfortable to shoot. This stock is fine for most people. Comes in from the factory like this. This is built in Turkey. And I believe there are some laws involved with bringing this shotgun imported into America. So they put this stock arrangement like this, calling it a sporterized shotgun, and that gets it in. So the first thing that I did on this gun, I went ahead and took these sights off of it that you see here. These are just a cheap set of adjustable sights. They're Picatinny rail design, easy enough to pull off. Just a couple of Phillips screws there, loosen those up, pull them off. And I wanted to give my son-in-law opportunity to be able to shoot the shotgun much more professionally, so I upgraded him to the Romeo 5. So this is just a box to show you what it looks like. You can find these on eBay for about $50. If you go to any of the other big supply box stores, they're going to run you $100 to $125. So I found these several places on the internet. They're on eBay, and they've got the Romeo 5 on there for, like I say, about 50 bucks. You want to make sure it's shaking awake. You want to make sure it's a red dot sight, 1x20, and then also look on there and find the size, and it is a 2 MOA. You want a nice small dot for this job. Take that out of the picture, and you can see I've already got that mounted on the gun here. There's your Romeo 5 red dot. It has a mount system that comes with it all ready to go. Single Torx screw on this far side here, and you tighten that down. Always put it up forward so that it leaves you plenty of side vision either side. You don't get tunnel vision. You don't treat this like a regular scope. Anytime you have a red dot, go as far forward as you can. I didn't go to this portion because that's part of the handguard and goes on and off. By having it affixed to the receiver, you're going to keep your accuracy no matter what. Now, I do have a stick laid out on the table. You'll notice that right here. And that's so I can keep this action open. The release is right here, and if you lay it on that, it's going to snap every time and send that bolt forward. I'm trying to get this spring so that it's a little bit lighter weight spring. Trying to get it to take a little bit of a set so that I can shoot lighter loads. This has the light piston in it, which gives me an advantage to be able to shoot some of the lighter loads. We're started off with buckshot. I've already shot this shotgun several times, and it does very good with the buckshot. Now, let's look at what it takes to make this thing a lot more comfortable. We want to be able to pull this stock off. I have gone ahead and purchased 2 new parts for it from the Fab company, FAB right here. And I got these from Optics Planet, very good price. This is a shock absorber type, like a pogo stick. GL shock, we'll look into that here in a minute. And here's an oversized rubber grip from the same company called Gladys. And they are going to utilize the hardware that comes with this gun to be able to put these back on. They don't even send you the Allen screw. So without further ado, as they say on all the other videos, let's get with it. This one does have some Phillips screws, and I have taken these out for the sake of time, but there's the tool you'll need. A Phillips, you'll need a 3/16 Allen wrench, preferably a long shank. You can use just a long straight L. I like the T-handle. Then you need some Loctite. I'm using a different brand. I'm using the Permatex. They call it screw glue. Same stuff, Loctite blue. So we've got the screw out of here. You pull this little cover off. That lets you get to the Allen screw, 1 Allen screw that's up in there. So got that cover off. This back cover, I pull the single screw out of it. And it does have a tab on the top right here that it locks into, so it has to be kind of rolled a little bit. See how many times I can set this down without letting that bolt fly. So you pull this out this way, and then it falls off like that. So now we've got that out of the picture. So the next step, we want to go ahead and take out these 2 Allen screws, one that's way up in here. See if I can get this and make sure y'all can see this on the video. It seems like the more that you can see, the more prone you'll be to getting this job done. So I've got it in there now, set in the little Allen screw, And I'm going to go fast as I can without dropping anything. We want to keep up with this screw because, like I said, you will be using this to mount the buttstock, the new buttstock. As soon as I feel it get loose, we'll have some action here. I think that's as loose as it's going to get. Okay, that's loose. And one more in here, and then we can just pull that apart. I'm going to feel for this one. Got it? Okay. And we'll get that out of there. Again, make sure you keep up with these screws because you are going to have to use both of these screws. And they are different lengths, and they do come with different hardware. One will have no locking washer on it, and one will have one. So we're going to take this out real quick. It's going to come out like that and like that. And let's dump the screw out. There's one screw right there. Come on, screw. Oh, he decided he's going to stay up in there. Here's the other screw right here, and it has a little tombstone looking thing here. That's what holds in the plastic stock. We're not going to need that anymore. Got the locking washer. Let's go ahead and keep up with it. So it's going to go right there. And this one's deciding to misbehave a little bit, but we're going to teach him a lesson. Get out of there. I'm trying to make a video here. Don't you see I'm doing something important? There him goes. So now let's take a look and see what we got here for my son-in-law. Let's start off with this gratis grip here, made by Fab Company. Fab is short for fabulous. This one is a little meatier, a little thicker than your typical plastic ones. Let's see what it says. It says Fab Defense Grad. I don't know about that. Gratis, okay? Gratis, that must be some kind of a Latin word, French, gratis. I'm sure that has a very important meaning. Rubberized, reduced angle pistol grip, okay? So let's have a look, see what this looks like. All right, get us up here about like that. That looks pretty good. And it's going to have a good angle, slightly different angle than the military. We've got our screw here, so let's give it a nice big dollop of this screw glue, the blue Loctite. Like to have that. Screws do like to come loose over time, and I don't want those on a weapon system. So let's go ahead and roll this into position, see if I can get that in there. That's going to be a lot of fun. Try to stab that on the fly. Can him do it? Probably not on video. I'm going to have a little bit of faith. Let's see if I can. What do you know? Wow, I threw that in the hole and it feels like it's going in there. Let's make sure that is not cross-threading. Feeling pretty good. Now, as I was tightening this, I got a little bit concerned. I see this, it looks like rubber, so I take a look down inside there. You may not be able to see it on the video camera, but it has a very heavy nylon liner in there with a big flat, so you can go ahead and do what I like to do on all screws, and that's shower down on that because I want that to be pretty tight. Ooh, there we go. That is tight now. So we'll set that down. That looks pretty good. This one does not have a it does not have any bottom plate or cover on that, so it lets the water drip out, no problem. We will have a container, I think, in the base of this. We'll look at that here in a minute. So just by feel, that's got a nice feel to it. It's rubberized. It filled in this gap good, real pretty. It's got a little bit of texture to it there. And not a bad looking grip, man. Feels good in the hand, feels real good. It's got a little hump right there. Feels kind of like you're handling a DeWalt. Feels good to me, man. So I'm happy with that. Don't need to do anything extra, but just be a grip. So let's take a look at this stock real quick. This stock is supposed to be a pogo stick. And this, believe it or not, this part is called a GL Shock. Fab Defense, keep it real. And that's all it says is GL Shock. This is a black one. There's a part number if you need it, FX-GL Shock. And that's it. Butt stock line, battle tested and proven. chosen by global military and law enforcement agencies for high standards of quality, superior ergonomics, functional durability, manufactured in Israel with the latest manufacturing technology. Compatibility with mil-spec and commercial carbine buffer tubes. I like that. It will do either one. So that's one of the reasons I picked that bad boy, is because I didn't have to worry about, is this a commercial tube or military tube? This one is a mil-spec tube, and the way you can tell that is it's got a 90-degree on the back. A commercial tube will have about a 10 or 15 degree odd angle. You can also measure that with calipers and look the specs up for that. Let's see how this fits on there. This looks like it could be too much fun, and I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work right there, but let's just see if we can slip that on there. And then I think this is just going to go like that, pull it out, and I'm going to turn it over on its head, get it over here where you can see it good. Lift up on that a long ways. Okay, you did not get to see that last part, but here's the way that this went. Very easily, you just pull this out as far as you possibly can and then go a little bit further, and that pulls the pin out of the way. And then these tabs right here, you've got to overcome them with that. So all I did was stand it up on the table, which is very easy. Pull this out as far as you possibly can get it out. And just about the time you think you haven't got it far enough, you got to pull it some more. And then take that and get it started in there, and then just pound it a couple of times. And what'll happen is this stem that's in here will get past these little stop points. Once you get past them, it'll be all the way on. And there's one last step we got to do, and that is we've got to go ahead and pull this butt plate off and put the proper screw in there so there's no way it can get away. So let's do that now. Let's see how that works. This is pretty easy. We have one push button right here. We can get the stick out of the way because I've already let the action fall. So you got a push button right here. Push it in hard. Way. Push in, down, and then see which way the stock wants to go. Comes off that way. Okay, that is pretty doggone tight. So I got that off now, and once you get that off, you will have a place to put stuff on the inside. Now this is where I'm going to stand the camera up. I'm going to make sure you get a picture of this so you can see it on the inside. See if I can do this like this. And we'll turn the camera a little bit. Let's see, about right there. This is where I probably need a light. Let me get a light. I want you to be able to see the details on this. All right, there's the butt plate. Let's have a look down inside here. And there you can see how it's going to attach. See right in there? There's a steel plate. That steel plate's in the back of this unit, built into it, insert, and there's a hole for the screw. Also, it looks like you got a place here that you could put stuff inside there. There's a little butt plug right there. You can see that. I pulled that plug out, and you could put some batteries in there, fishing hooks. You could put a credit card in there. So I don't think a credit card will fit. Let me tell you something, friend. You don't have to have an old credit card nowadays. Let's show you what I'm talking about here. You can take any one of your credit cards. I'll make sure I don't show you my number, because that way nobody will go off shopping on me. But you can take that right there, trim that off right there. That's all you need is that little chip. You can slide that into the stock of that gun and carry you extra couple $1,000 with you, along with your fishing hooks and maybe an extra shell or two, or some waterproof matches, or whatever that you feel like that you need to get the job done somewhere. So that's pretty cool to have that little plug like that. Let me show you that again. There's your little plug. You grab it just like that, 2 fingers, and out it comes. And you got plenty of place there to put stuff. Let's go ahead and put that one screw in there. We'll get it like it goes and see if we like this stock. There, look at him. There him is right there, hiding. He trying to hide on me. Let's put a little blue Loctite on him. Always like a little Loctite on my screws, that way they don't back out on me. Put that in there. Always keep up with your hardware. because the way this stuff works, they're going to really expect you to use the hardware that came with your gun. This is a fairly long screw, and there's plenty of room for it in there. Alright, so we'll screw this all the way in. Got the blue Loctite. We've got that little special locking washer on there, so that takes care of that. I'm feeling pretty good about this. Good, strong mount. This company actually builds, this fab company builds a patented, not patent pending, but a actual patented part inside that keeps that from rattling. It's an anti-rattle liner. I think it's these pieces right here that tube has to overcome. So that's in place. Let's put this butt piece back on. No screws needed. I do like that. Snap on. It was a little bit difficult to get off, but we'll get used to that. So that goes on like that. Holds itself on real good. That's ready for the field. So your release is up here. It's on the forward part instead of on the reverse. No big deal. And that stays put however you want to do it. So there's position 1. Next one could be there. That'd be a 2-position stock. Next one would be there's a 3-position stock. Next one there's a 4. And then a 5 lock. And then that's it. So 5 positions. That'll do everything that I need to do with a shotgun. And I'm pretty happy with that. So I think the next step on this is going to be to take it out in the yard and make some noise with it. I will give you one more point on this that we're going to do to his gun. He has already asked me, he said, is there any way that we could do something for that laser? Because I don't really like that laser side mounted like that. And I said, yeah, Josh, here's what we're going to do. Look at that thing go. We're going to drill this handguard out along in here somewhere. I will make sure that there's enough room between the barrel, and I think that there will be. And I will put some screws in there, take the handguard out, put the screws in from the back side, some good flat type of screws, Allen head, and then I'm going to mount Picatinny rail somewhere. I'm going to say probably, this has got a little bit of a cut in it right there. We want to stay away from our gas system so we don't put extra heat on our laser. And that I think is going to be, probably it's going to have to be here or out here somewhere, probably out farther, just because you have a tendency to put your hand out there to operate the laser. It'd be a little bit nicer maybe to have it underneath and hit the controls there. It cannot be placed there. I tried that, but that's in the way of the red dot. It shows up in the red dot too much. So that's really about all I've got left to do. I did not want to shoot this and really get after it with that other stock because it just blocks your hands too much. Let me show you what I'm talking about. When you're holding a gun, AR-15 style gun, and you've got the pistol grip here. Now this has been cocked. We have made sure that the gun's empty, but we're going to cycle it again. All right, when that gun is cocked and you're ready to go, you want to be able to have that on safe like that. And you want to be able to rest your thumb just like you would on a 1911 pistol or an AR-15 application, M16. You want your thumb right there. You could not do that with that other Sporter stock. There was not enough room to do all that. So by having it like that, you can put this against your shoulder. I'm going to bring this out just a skosh. Let's bring this out 1 notch. That's good and stiff like it's supposed to be. Right there. So 1 notch out. Put my shoulder up against it. And now that's just like it's supposed to be, and my thumb is right there. So I can take the safety off and then make the shot. So that is good. I like that a lot. So that is already proven to be quite the stock. It's got something else on it that I really like, and that is, if you want to put a sling on this real quick and you had a QD type of a sling, you could make an attachment. Let's see if this will take a QD right here, and there's the hole, and that is a steel insert right there. So that's good steel insert, proper diameter and everything for a QD. So you can QD there. Now I don't have this, not a full harness here, but you go in. Let's make sure that's in all the way. Good and stout, very strong. And then you can pull that out. Where else could we QD? You can QD right up here. Quick disconnect right there. And let me make sure that's going in all the way. And it is. So now we're good and stout there. And when I get that laser off, there's another one right underneath that laser. So how do you know that for sure? Because There it is on the opposite side right there. So you got one here, one here. This stock would have one back here. So you're QD'd all up. 1, 2, 3. Same on the other side, mirror image. 1, 2, and one underneath the laser would be 3. So I'll get him set up with a nice sling. You really need a good sling. This one has a strap and a different connection point on the other, but we'll get him a QD that's on both ends for taking it on and off quick. That's a pretty slick setup now. This has gone from being kind of a plain Jane AR-15 look-alike, and now it's got a really nice stock. That thing, let's see, they say it's anti-rattle. That's, I'd say it is. There's other things on the gun rattling, but it's not the stock. That stock is good and tight. This needs to be tightened up. I need to tighten up that washer on the gun. That has not been tightened. I'll put some blue Loctite on that and take a spanner wrench and tighten that down good. From the factory, they never did tighten that. But that's okay. That's one of those things that we'll do. And it won't be long. We'll be filling it up with some of this stuff right here. That is some nice 3-inch Magnum made by Seller and Ballot. And those will be quite the shell. That's a beautiful looking thing right there, man. And this thing loads them up good, boy. When you put that in there, it loads them good. This gun is not set up for shooting the cheap Walmart light loads. You might as well save your money on that, unless there is a way around it. You're going to hear the unless part here. Unless you really want to do that a lot, like all the time, what you could do is buy a recoil spring in here, a buffer spring that is a very light grade, lighter than what's in there, and it would allow that bolt to come to the rear much faster, much farther, and go ahead and eject those light loads out. The problem with that tuning like that is, if you get this spring too light, it can beat the gun up, or if you get it too light, it won't be stout enough for the spring to push the bolt forward to pick up the new round. So my thinking on this is go ahead and leave the light gas piston in here, which will be good all the way up to 3-inch Magnums without getting into really hot stuff. It'll cover all that. And stay with buckshot and shoot this shotgun really for what it's designed for. It's really designed, it's not a quail gun. It's not a skeet gun. It's somewhat of a combat gun. And for home use, you better know your backstop. If you're shooting that stuff there, you probably could shoot you some number 4, or some people might shoot maybe a really hot duck load or something like that in a 3-inch where you get it to cycle. Watch your speeds on this gun. You'll notice this buckshot here is rated at 1,325 feet per second. That means it's got a good gas charge in there. We're going to cycle some of these through it tomorrow and see how it does with them. I despise watching people take a gun like this and shooting a bunch of ammo that never was designed to be shot out of the gun. Then they say, boy, that gun, it's just not reliable. That thing just not reliable. It is the same thing with a 1911. People get the most radical looking flat-nosed bullets and hollow points that are got a big gaping end on them, and they try to shoot it, and the gun was never even designed to shoot those. And they say it's just not reliable. So a good rule of thumb, if you're going to shoot a particular gun, find out the flavor of ammo, the type of bullet that it likes, and stick with that. And you're going to be much, much happier. It's going to go bang every time. It's going to throw the dead shell out the side. It's going to pick up a fresh one and load it. I have watched guys run this gun right here in a 3-gun competition. Now the 3-gunners, a lot of them are guys that are going to try to stay on the budget end. Some of them though are high-end people that spend a lot of money. But there's some budgeteer type people like myself that spend $600 on this and a couple of $100 worth of gear added onto it, and they'll go out there and run a 3-gun competition with this gun and score very well. So that's one of the things that you need to know about the VR80. There are a lot of men and women in the 3-gun competition that are using that gun you'll see right there on the table. And they do well with it. Now some of them may be putting in competition lightweight springs and shooting light loads out of it. Just keep that in mind. I do that on all my 1911s. I've got some very light target loads that I shoot in my 1911s, so I take the recoil spring that was a 16-pounder out, and I put a 12 pound in there, and the slide cycles very smooth, very easy. But my guns are so smooth and been polished, and the feed ramp's polished, and the barrel's polished, and the frame is polished, and so when it goes to pick that next round up, it puts it in silky smooth. Plus I keep them greased and oiled real good. And we're going to oil this one up good too tomorrow before we take it out and shoot it. But you saw the tools that we used. That was very easy. We had that one Allen wrench right there, and then I had the one Phillips screwdriver, and that's really all that you need to take that piece off here and piece off here. Make sure you keep your 2 Allens, because you will take those factory Allens and put them right back into the gun. And that's all you need. And man, that's a good feeling stock. Now I'm used to a control that's back here to make it operate, but your finger will quickly memorize those little ridges right there, and that tells your hand, you know, when you feel around on there, this part's smooth, this part's ridge. That ridge says, hey, this is activation point. So you pull on that and you're good to go. There's no problem with that. It doesn't make you drive backwards or shoot it backwards or forget how to shoot a gun. It'll do just fine. It's built in Israel. I guarantee you there's some military boys that are using that fab stock right there. Now the last thing I want to talk to you about that we didn't even cover is that this this stock, believe it or not, has a shock absorber. It's supposed to have a shock absorber built in. Let's see if it does. Look at that crazy thing. That thing has got, I'm gonna make sure I don't shadow you here. That thing has got a shock absorber, and it feels like a shock absorber in a pogo stick, but I can hardly wait to shoot that, because when you shoot it, this is not going to need a recoil pad. It's got a recoil shock in there. So that's going to take out quite a bit of recoil when I'm shooting those 3-inch magnums. I can hardly wait. Let's say I pull it up my shoulder and pull. And can I compress it? Yeah, you can compress it with your shoulder. So that's going to be fun. It doesn't rattle, but that's what that's all about. When it says on there, GL shock. When you hear the word shock, think of shock absorber. So how far will it go? Let's see, there's a line right there. I'm gonna measure that with my super calibrated finger here. That's 3/4 of an inch. That's about what it goes. It goes that full stroke. That's 3/4 of an inch right there. So I doubt I'm gonna shoot anything that's stout enough to compress that all the way, but I think that'll be a lot of fun tomorrow. We'll take it out, get it out in the yard, and blaze away and shoot a little bit of everything in the yard. So thank y'all so much for watching. I hope you enjoy these simple upgrades. Better sights, better hand grip here, better stock here. Now we have shock absorber capability, and the next will be to go ahead and drill and put in a small Picatinny rail and drop that laser down the bottom, and we'll be done. So next thing, we'll be doing a whole bunch of shooting. Thanks again for watching. Please tap the like, subscribe if you did like and subscribe, and over and out for now.